Now let's have a look at Angular CLI or Angular command line interface and see what are the things it can provide. So the first thing you should remember is that after installing Angular, the ng keyword is reserved for Angular. Ng means and stands for Angular. So whatever command which we want to use to use the Angular CLI, we start with ng. Now, before using the Angular CLI, let's just have a recap on how did we install the Angular, and we'll check the version of Angular and other things which we installed. So I will open my terminal. In Windows, you can use PowerShell, or in Mac, you can use your own terminal. I will show you with this here. Let me zoom in more further. Now, how did we install the Angular was we used the npm to install Angular, and we wrote npm install -g, which stands for global, and then we used @ Angular /CLI. After running this command, it executes and it installs the Angular command line interface. And similarly, we installed Typescript. So to install Typescript, we wrote npm, which stands for Node Python Node Package Manager, then npm install -g for global, which means you can access this Angular and TypeScript anywhere. Please don't forget to add this -g while running this command. Otherwise, you will not be able to run the Angular projects from anywhere inside your machine. Then we type TypeScript to install the TypeScript language on our local machine. So don't forget to run these two commands. They will install the Angular and TypeScript. Both are very important for running the Angular project. Now, if we just write ng and hit enter, let's see what it does. So it shows us some commands which we can run, which means we have the Angular installed in our local machine. Let's clear this. Now let's write ng 2 slashes then help. We see that the ng help is showing us something, which means okay, our Angular has been installed perfectly. Now let's create and while creating, let's try to understand what exactly is a command line interface and how can we actually make a project in Angular using command line interfaces. So command line interfaces, as the name suggests, are the commands which we write in our terminal. Uh, so as we know that ng is a keyword reserved for Angular, so every command will start with ng, and then there are few commands which we want our Angular to do. Like first is we want to create a new project. So we'll write ng, then a new, then the name of the project. We can now let's have a project which says hello-world. And we run it. So this command means uh, Angular create a new hello world project. Now it asks us to if we want the made like help from the angular.static.io. Then we say yes. Would you like to add Angular routing? We say yes. Then it asks for which type of cascading style sheet would be like. So for now, let's just hit enter and use CSS only. Then it takes time. As you can see, npm is installing something, and you can see a lot of create and the file names are there. It's all that the Angular is creating all the necessary files which will be needed inside our project. So it is collecting and creating all those files, and it is assembling inside the project. which we will see later when it completes the whole project. So as you can see, there's a tick sign there and it says package installed successfully, which means the Angular project have been made. Now let's see what does it made. Let's open our code text editor here with the help of code dot, and we see there's a hello world project, hello world folder made by the Angular inside our working directory. When we click on this hello world folder, we have lot of files. Please note that you need not to worry about all these files which the Angular has generated. At the end, we'll be working with some specific set of files, and these all other files are just for hosting the project and for security purposes, which we need not to worry while learning. So uh, we'll click, we see there's a lot of files. Let's see what is inside the src folder, which stands for source. We have app assistant environment. There's a lot of files. There's some testing main.ts, and there are very different files. Let's just click on app, and we're still getting some HTML files. If we extend this, there are HTML files, CSS file, and TS stands for TypeScript files. So there are basically a lot of files, but there is one index.html file. This we know that it is the one which is used to make our HTML page. Now let's go back to our terminal and let's minimize this text editor. Now we'll use the ng keyword again, or the Angular CLI, and we will serve our project, which means we will start the Angular project. And to do that, we use ng serve. You can also use dash dash open, which will open it directly into your browser. But now I'll just use ng serve and hit enter. And please remember to go inside the folder, the project folder which was just created. I can say ls and it will give me the folder, and the folder name is the name of the project. So cd hello world, and now use ng serve. So it takes a bit of time to start the project, and now as you can see, you cannot do anything on this terminal as it is preoccupied by Angular. So if you scroll up here, you can see the Angular live development server is listening on the local host colon 4200. Open your browser on HTTP localhost 4200. I'll copy this link, and let's go on to this link, and we'll see what exactly is there. So this is what we get when we go to this localhost uh, colon 4200 site, and this is the hello world website which Angular made by itself. This is the hello world program or the hello world project which is auto generated at the time we run our Angular project. So it looks very interactive, and let's see how does the Angular made this whole project. Now we can go inside our text editor to have a look inside the project. As we earlier saw, this index.html file is the thing which we know from earlier that it is the one who is supposed to have all the HTML component which the page have. So let's click on this. We see, yes, it is the one. We have the doc type HTML declaration here, and this has the HTML page which we are looking for. So this page must be the one who is generating our hello world program within the Angular. So let's inspect this HTML page. So there is some information in the head and the title says hello world. Let's see if the title of our page is also hello world. As you can see, the title of our page is exactly same as there. So this is the HTML code for generating of this page. Now let's go back to that page and we see, yes, this is the page we're looking for, but in a body, we see only one element, and that is not the standard HTML element. We did not learn about the app root element. We did not learn about this in our HTML course. So what is this app root and where is it coming from? And how does the only one element generated all of this such a nice, beautiful working page? How can one element have all of these features? Because there is nothing else inside body and all the page is generated with the code inside the body. So this is something which we need to reverse engineer. Let's look more into this app uh, page. And now let's like one more step we can do to verify is that we can add an h2 element here. We can add an h2 element and we can say this is the page we are looking into. So let's save this file and go back to our web page. And if we refresh it, so we saw something coming. This is the page we are looking into, but it's going away. Now let's comment this and we'll see what it happens. As you can see, we did not even refresh the page, and this is the page we are looking into got printed onto the page. This is because as you can see in the terminal, it says it's the Angular live development server. The server is live, which means whatever we do, it gets instantaneously compiled and worked by the Angular, and the results are displayed onto the page. We need not do the refresh part. So let's get back to our code and let's delete this h2 part and uncomment this app root and save our file, and we get back to our page and it's working as before. Now let's inspect how are we generating this app root element and how are we getting all that page. We can see within this app folder there are some files, and there's also one HTML file which says app.component.html. Let's have a look into that HTML file. And it says the content below is only a placeholder and can be replaced. Delete the template below to get started with the project. So let's go ahead and let's delete everything and let's save our file and we'll see and let's see what it does. Now, when we go back to our hello world page, it's completely empty now. Let's try to add something inside our app.component.html file. Let's say we write then h2 and right here, this is the real HTML file. Let's save this. And once we go back to our hello world page, we see the h2 element getting printed. Note that we did not write any doc type or HTML tag here. We directly added the element h2 and it's still getting printed on the web page as if this is the real website. So somehow all the content which is inside this app.component.html is getting added inside this body where there's only one element, app root element. So this is what the Angular is doing. It's helping us to break down the whole element, whole pages into some elements which we can add inside our body and can simplify our life as if it looks very simple, and we can make multiple such elements and can make our whole web page shorter. As this file is called app.components, so this must be the component which we are making. So let's replace this text with our hello world, and let's go back to our site, our web page, and we can see hello world is being printed here, and we did not even refresh the page. So this is the hello world program we just made while inspecting the files within the Angular. Let's get back to our slide. So you saw how we use the ng new, then the name of the project hello world, and ng serve to build and serve the application. Similarly, there are ng generate component, then the name of the component, and ng generate serve name. These two are the more commands which we can use in Angular. But first we need to learn about what are components and what are service